Well, hello there. You came back to watch the pumpkin pie slash squash pie in our fall recipes. So anyways, glad you tuned in. And I thought, here's the piece of pie dough that we put in the fridge yesterday. And I guess I'll get this rolled out, get it in my pie plate, and then we'll get the filling made and bake our pumpkin slash squash pie. Back in a second. Before we get going, have a look at the pieces. You can see the lard that's inside the pie dough and how flaky it's going to be, because as it bakes, it bubbles and blisters and puts pockets of air in. It makes a beautiful, flaky, wonderful pie. So that's the whole part. It's nice to have a good filling, but you really need to have a good pie dough to go with it. I guess I need a little bit more flour on my rolling pin. I'll keep rolling it around and turning it. Try and get a nice shape. So do you make many pies yourself, or are you just learning to make them now? Put that in the comments, and maybe each of us in the community of the comments can help each other. If there's any questions you have or any tips you'd like to share, feel free to put them in the comments, and then that way we can all learn together. Because it seems like it's easier to go and buy a pie than to make your own, but you'll never get the flavor in a boughten pie that you could if it's not a homemade one. Let's see. That's just barely big enough. You need it big enough that you can do a bit of a nice scalloped edge on your edge of your pie dough along the pie plate. You don't want it so much you got to trim a lot off, but you want enough that you can make a nice fluted edge. Let me turn you down a bit more. It's more important you see the pie than seeing me. I think we need a bit wider here. So we'll see if we can work our dough over. And then we'll fold it in half and put it on our pie plate. And let's see how this fits. It's very soft and supple pie dough, so it promises to be nice and flaky. I think that's good. We'll fold this under and this under, and then we'll do a little bit of a crimping and style on our outside edge of the pie dough. My cat says he would either like outside, he's got food, he has water. I think he just likes complaining. Just like the kids, when they know mom's videoing or on the phone, they start to holler. Anyways, I like to just hold it. I need a bit more flour in there. I like to hold it like that. And I just push in with my finger. This gives a nice bit of a fluted edge. Raises the edge up a little bit to help hold your filling in so it doesn't boil over. But if you don't keep flour on your fingers, then the pie dough starts sticking to you. And I'm sure everybody on here, if you're a normal pie baker, you'll have your own way of doing things, of how you do your edges. This is how I choose to do it. It takes a little bit of practice, but it's not too bad to figure out. And that's all I do to put a nice fluted edge on. So we're ready to make the filling. Let's get that done. All right, the recipe calls for 2 cups of pumpkin or squash, whichever. We're using the butternut squash. And you can't tell the difference. I know it was squash, and I showed you that that's what we were doing, but if you really tasted it, you wouldn't know the difference, except it's a creamier and finer texture. So 2 eggs go in. and 1 3/4 cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and it calls for ground cinnamon, ginger, cloves. I have my pumpkin pie spice that I make, and it's got cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger already in it. And I have 2 rounded teaspoons. Then it calls for 1 cup of milk. So we'll beat this up and then pour it into our pan, and that's it. That's all it takes. I will move you over here a little better and maybe tip you down. Hang on for the ride, folks. Oops, those are my utensils. There we go. Now we'll beat this up. Actually, I'll clean my sides while I've got the mixer off. Make sure all that cinnamon's in there. And that's it. All right, we'll pour it into our pan. Sorry, I called it a pan, but I meant pie plate. So we'll pour it in. Hopefully it will all fit. It's pretty close. All right. Now it said to preheat the oven to 425, but I took it to 400 and I thought that was plenty warm. Just want to mix that little bit of cinnamon around. Okay, we'll put this in the oven and I'll have to check and see how long I'm supposed to bake it for because I have forgotten. So we're to put it in a 400-degree oven and bake it that way for 15 minutes. And then we're to turn the heat down to 350 and continue baking for another 30 minutes at 350. So the pie is in the... Okay, let's bake it for 15 minutes at 400 and then 30 minutes at 350, roughly, until a knife sticks in the middle and comes out clean. Well, the 30 minutes is up, so let's see. Oh, I can already tell, woo-wee, no way. Not done. Pie dough looks nice, so we'll give it another 5 to 10 minutes. All right, let's see what we have here. A tiny, tiny bit. I'm going to call it done because I think that when it finishes on the counter, it's warm enough that it should be fine. See the pie? It's not jiggly and the pie crust is just lightly golden brown. All right, let's try the pie. Looks like it's done. And the crust is nice and brown, just lightly brown. I stuck my oven mitt in this part, so it's a little bit of a defect. Scratch and dent pie. Anyways, it's finally done. So we'll let it cool before we put the whipped cream and the praline pecans on. So I don't know about you, but I've been waiting to try a nice piece of the squash pie with whipped cream and pralines. Look at that nice golden crust, and it's flaky and yummy looking. So let's try it and see what we have. Here, have my first bite. Look at the flaky pastry. Dear Lord of mercy. bring on the fall flavors. That is the bomb. Want my second bite? Oh, shoot. Don't waste that. Well, I sure hope you give that recipe a try. It is amazing. That squash is so creamy and lush. It's not nearly as stringy as a normal pumpkin pie can be when you cook down pumpkin. That is absolutely delish. Have a little dab. So good. And those pralines, oh boy, so tasty. The pecans with the pumpkin. What a treat. I'll be serving this to my family and company this fall. So anyways, like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and if you're new to my channel, thank you for showing up, and if you've returned, I'm thankful that you returned to us. And share the video, and I just really want to pray blessings over you and your family, and talk to you soon. Bye.